We got the second episode of Odds and End Zones on BGN Radio right now. I'm Shamus Clancy. I'm joined by my boy, Zo. It's the first day of hoodies and shorts weather in Philadelphia. Have you been outside yet?
Been outside. School. I did daycare drop off at 7:30, and it was a crisp 57 degrees. This is perfect champion hoodie and Adidas shorts weather. Oh, God bless us.
When Ashley opened the door, my girlfriend Ashley, to go out to the car to drive to work, I just heard the door open and she went, "Oh my God."
So in my dad years, I've been yearning for the final day to cut the AC off, and I was like, thank God. I was like, this might be the day we finally get to turn it off.
That's what my dad would say about my grandfather. If it was the winter, he'd walk in and he'd be like, whoa, let's turn it down to 100 in here, given how hot. See what I mean?
See what I'm saying? Like that's what it is, man.
That's dad energy.
That big dad energy.
It's weird to say that something's a must win. It's a cliche and everything, but with the way the Eagles' schedule's lining up, for the Chiefs at home, probably a loss. They're going to Carolina, who I think paper tiger maybe, but they're still 3-0. I think they're well coached. Joe Brady's awesome. Joe Brady should be a head coach. I think Matt Rule's that good leader of men type head coach.
Yep. And CMC hurt his hamstring last night.
And J.C. Horn's going to be out 2-3 months.
J.C. Horn's going to be out for a while. It sucks. I love J.C. Horn. He's a really, really, really good corner. He's going to be really good for a long time. But hope he gets well. But like CMC, I know I saw him limp off last night, and then. But aside from that, they're still a very, very, very well coached team. Yeah, they're going to be they're tough out regardless.
Especially on the road. If we caught them at home, maybe it's like I almost wish that one of those Chiefs or Bucks games was on the road because it feels like an inevitable loss anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd rather maybe one of those toss-up games be in Philly instead.
Yeah, I feel like I would have preferred to maybe go out to KC first.
Yeah,
probably an out either way. It's gonna be a very, very, very tough game regardless. It's gonna be tough. That Tampa Bay game is gonna suck. It's gonna be annoying, especially without PG.
The line's already out for they do the week ahead lines. Chiefs are only -6.5 against the Eagles in Philly, and I'm like, I don't ever really bet against the Eagles, though. That's something that feels like one of the easiest smashes ever.
Yeah, you probably hammer the hell out of that. Of course.
Yeah. But we got some lines going for this week we're going to talk about. Eagles, they've been at 4 on some books, but I'm seeing at +3.5. +3.5 is always the juiciest, perfect bet for
if
you're getting it +3 or -3, you're buying that extra point either way sometimes. But these games are always close, and I have some notes about that. But I think +3.5 is – I'd rather take that than money line. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's probably. That's looking at all things considered. How both teams looked last week and how early in the season it still is. I probably have no problem with that.
Yeah, and one of the lines I saw on DraftKings, we're not sponsored by any book, but just kind of seeing what I see out there, is the largest lead of the game over under 14.5. I think that's a good under. Over was -110, under -120.
I'd probably take it. That's a good under.
Yeah, I think that's a good under. Sometimes people get weird about the crazy kind of random prop bets, but I think that's one that's kind of under the radar you might not think of. I think it'll be a close game. I'm not saying that I don't think it's a slam dunk win for the Eagles by any means.
Yeah, I don't. At all. And I also think that they tend to play really well when they go down there. Yeah. But it's always one of those games where it feels like it should be a blowout, but it's not. So even if they play their best game, the biggest lead still might wind up being 7 or 8 points. You know what I mean? They can just come out smoking and still go into halftime and only be up 8 points or something like that.
Yeah. And building off that, one thing I saw, I've never bet on something like this before, was betting on overtime.
Mm-hmm.
+950. I looked it up. Dating back to 2015, 3 of the last 6 Eagles-Cowboys games in Dallas have gone to overtime. You had 2015, Jordan Matthews has that 41-yard touchdown pass from Sam Bradford. 2016, it's the first Wentz versus Dak one down there. Jason Witten catches that touchdown in overtime on Sunday Night Football. And then you had that afternoon game in 2018, the Clete Blakeman fumble recovery game. Was it Rasul Douglas kind of drops or misses that interception?
And missed the interception,
So that's 3 of the last 6. And the only 2 real outliers there are when the Eagles smacked the crap out of them 37-9 in 2017, the Super Bowl year. And I don't remember the last score last year, but pretty even early, but Dallas pulled away pretty handily by the end of the game, even with Andy Dalton out there.
With the red rifle out there.
Yeah. QB1 in Chicago.
What a joke, whatever.
Yeah. You think Fields is going to ball out?
I do. I love him.
He's great.
I loved him when he was – I loved him. Listen, this is how far me and Justin Fields go back. I loved him when he was on QB1 on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
He was – so that show, for anyone not to know, it's a really good show. You guys should look it up because there's actually a couple of ballers on there. So it basically follows high school prospects, obviously all quarterbacks, in their senior year at their respective high schools. So the year he was on, it was him and a couple other guys, but obviously he was like the most talented one. And that was when I saw him. I was like, this dude is big as hell, man. Like he is a monster, and he's really, really smart. He can really throw the ball. I think he's gonna sling it this weekend. He's a really good guy. I like. And the next season of that show, Spencer Rattler, the leading Heisman candidate from University of Oklahoma, was on it too. So a couple of QB1 alums, hopefully looking to have big weekends. But yeah, definitely check it out for anyone who's interested. But yeah, I think he's gonna really sling it this weekend.
I feel like Eagles fans are on the cusp of the greatest market inefficiency since Billy Beane and Moneyball figuring out that they were walks. Jalen Hurts rushing yard props. And I have them written down. They've jumped up as the week's gone on over the first 2 weeks of the season. But in week 1, the line on these are all on DraftKings opened at 39.5. Rusher 62, that's a hit. Last week opened at 49.5. And I think in week 1 it eventually ended up at 49.5.
It ended up. It was 44, remember? It ended up at 49.
Okay. And then he ended up with 82 last week.
Yep.
And for this week, highest of the season so far, opened up at 54.5. And within a couple of minutes is already at 55.5. So I think until we see another huge 300-yard passing game from him this season, I know he had done that last season. I think he's a guaranteed at minimum 50 yards a game.
Yeah, and also I feel like I mentioned it. I know I mentioned this to you last week, but I've been telling everybody who listen, it doesn't take that long for a running quarterback to get their legs going. Like all it takes is one collapse for him to get up on the horse and go. And you look at what like Dallas's D line is. I think they're outweighed by like maybe 50 pounds per guy. Against the Eagles offensive line, but I do feel like he's going to have a really good night using his feet, whether it's by design or just by happenstance. But I know Dallas is getting Randy Gregory back. Like he was just activated off the COVID list, so he'll be activated. Like he's a big part of what they do to rush the passer. They're without DeMarcus Lawrence because with that broken foot, but they're getting Gregory, and then they got Micah Parsons playing edge now. So like there's going to be some opportunity for Jalen to get out and go to save himself and to save the play. So I think you're a fool these next couple of weeks to not put money on him getting over whatever those yards are.
Yeah, so he has that 54, 55.5. His longest rush is set at 16.5. Last week the long for him was 27.
Like
that's one play. That's one 3rd and 6 that the pocket breaks down and he scampers and gets out of bounds.
What's I'm saying? That's literally one breakdown. And we saw it last week when Bosa ran over Mayada and he had to get going. The second time he got sacked, but the first time, he spun out of it and got going on, But I feel like it's almost free money. That's such a cliche, but this prop for us is definitely free money.
I was hitting this in 2017 with Wentz. This is before kind of the legal sports book explosion, but I don't think they realized how mobile he was that season. And it was only going to be things like it was like 17 and a half and something like that in some games. And he was doing that Houdini stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. Obviously, it's probably the most exciting bet you can make out as an Eagles fan, right?
Easy.
You have a young, fun, exciting quarterback. And when he's mobile, that makes it even more wild and captivating to watch. So whenever he gets that ball outside and he's running up the field, that's when the juice you get from a nice bet really comes into play.
That's when I think that's what we missed last week too. Like you were there, so
Yeah.
I went to we both were out tailgating, but I felt like the vibes were weird from the jump. I don't know.
Too many Niners fans. It was weird, dude. I don't know if because there might be there's a bandwagon element to that, I think, because before the Cowboys were the Cowboys, the Niners were the Niners. So you might have family strongholds that go back to the 80s there, or they might have traveled well. But it was weird. I had Cowboys, 49ers fans behind me the whole game, and they were just as annoying as anything in the world. And it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like a home opener.
Yeah.
And it certainly didn't feel like a home opener after 623 days since the last true full capacity Eagles home game.
And that was I had a lot of people similar to what you just said who were at the game telling me, I was surrounded by 49ers fans. Like, where was the last time you went to an Eagles game and said that you were surrounded by fans of the other team?
We talk about Eagles takeovers. I would legitimately consider that a 49ers takeover. That stadium.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and it was in the parking lot too. You were tailgating. There were a ton of Niners fans.
That's what I was. That was literally. That's when I realized the vibes were weird. Like, I was walking through literally waves of 49ers fans to get to people. Like, there was like a sea of red. There was like hardly any. It was really, really, really weird, man. Like, you can tell it was a concerted effort, but it was also like there was like pockets of Niners fans who knew that they were doing their own thing. So like not even all of them had like the same ticket source. They all got like some kind of hookup to where there was just pockets of them literally everywhere. It was nuts. It was like we were traveling to that chair stadium.
Yes. And we've seen Eagles fans do that our whole lives, really, since the Reed hour.
We did it in the Atlanta game. Yeah,
we did it when they played in LA a couple times. And when I'm walking into the stadium and it's not the huddled masses all bunched together doing 500 EAGLES chants, it just felt a little off. And maybe because it's warm out, it's not that great fall weather or winter weather, and that could play a role. But it was just off. I thought the vibes were going to be tremendous. They had that rocking of Atlanta in week 1. San Fran's a little banged up.
Yep.
We're coming home for biggest home game since pre-pandemic. Let's roll. And welcome to that stadium. Kind of the bottom dropped out.
We talked about this guy last week, but I think that to the start where the vibes were off. But really getting down to the goal line, like Kez not scoring on that catch was the start of it. I think. I thought.
What did it look like on TV? Because I was sitting in the end zone. That's not usually where I sit for games, but I'm in the south end zone. So he's running away from me.
He's running away from you. Yeah.
So did he look like he just got gassed? Was the defender going full Ben Watson against the Broncos? What was the situation there?
It on TV, it genuinely looked like he one, like he either got caught up or he was just almost out of gas. But there was it looked really weird for a guy that fast. I really think that they just had a good angle on him,
Yeah,
and they just a last ditch effort kind of tripped him up. Because if it was 1-on-1 or even something where he just got behind both of them, I think he scores. But I really think it was a case of them just having of the safety just having a really good angle on him. And it
it
sucks
was rough.
because like you want that play to be a touchdown. Like it should be for
You
again,
can't have a 90+ yard play that doesn't end in 6.
it,
It's like that's bad energy going into that goal to go situation. The false start kills them.
right.
They don't punch it in.
And then it just rolls downhill. We saw it. Like they didn't punch it in from there.
They'd
And
have
then
10 points right there. The stadium would blow it up in
that's
there.
where it
I
went
mean, not
south.
even if they didn't hit the Philly special, even if they just ran, Hurts up the middle or something. It doesn't matter.
And then you get down there again, you get stopped again, and then you miss a field goal. The field goal gets blocked. I missed. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
it just rolls downhill. It's the momentum all of a sudden took a huge turn, and you're like, oh boy. You get that feeling again, like, oh boy, it's gonna be one of those games. And like everybody just and then when BG gets hurt, that's when BG got hurt, and I think everybody was just like, oh yeah, all right,
That
well,
sucked the energy out of them.
literally whatever energy was left, literally left when BG left the field. Everybody was just like, all right, cool. We're probably gonna have to chalk this one up.
We kind of called a little bit that quiz longest reception and longest pass for
We
Jalen.
said it.
On
We said
the
it.
DK book, they have a longest reception category, but they don't strangely have Quez Watkins. They have two Cowboys tight ends, Blake
Yeah,
Jarwin and Dalton Schultz. And they have CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Rager, and Tony Pollard. They don't have him on there. It's a little strange because then what are you going to do it like 65.5 or something like that?
yeah,
Like,
basically, right.
where
I
does it
guess
go?
that's probably what they're saying. Like with his baseline, you say like
Yeah.
over under 54 yards or something like that.
Yeah. So Jalen's longest completion is still 36.5. I think the talk about his arm strength is wild because I'm not sure it's arm strength. I think it's timing, placement, and accuracy a little bit. He misses Devontae Smith early
Yeah,
in the game on that touchdown, and that should have been a touchdown. He just misses the guy, I think.
yeah,
Then he has that play to Quez, perfection, and then his best throw of the day doesn't even count on that.
yep,
Not quite a Hail Mary deep
right.
ball, but a shot downfield, an explosive 20, 25+ yard play to Reagor where he has the illegal touching penalty.
And
So I think, and we,
yeah. Well, I think that so. I think on that regular play, Rager's also got to help him out a little bit. Like you
yes.
can't get yourself squeezed like that. I know
That
a lot
doesn't
of people.
happen to other teams. Like a guy gets squeezed
That's
with the inability to get. It's not because the pass was too far out towards
right.
the sideline. He just couldn't get separation on it.
That's exactly what happened. You got to help yourself out. You got to help your quarterback out. Like a good receiver just doesn't happen. You
Yes.
cannot let that happen, especially in such a crucial point of the game where points are at a premium. You got the guy beat. You have to release better than that. But I agree. I think to your point, I don't think it's an arm strength thing at all. I think it's actually just a timing and accuracy thing. And fortunately, unfortunately, like that doesn't come 2 weeks in. We don't know when it's gonna come, but like they work. We know they work on it. Like we know he mentions working a lot with Devontae and Kez and everyone else, and really working to get that stuff going. Those are just reps. Like they need more reps together. They need more more mental and practice reps together. So we're gonna have to be patient with it. But I don't think it's an arm strength thing at all. I think it's just a matter of him putting it exactly where they need it, like understanding like where Devontae needs it, where Quez needs it. Like Quez is the kind of guy who, he's a speedster. So like if you put it 5 yards ahead of him, he's going to catch up to it and just keep going.
And there's been this weird switch in the Hurts narrative where last year, all summer, obviously he can run. He can throw the deep ball, but can he hit those shorter throws?
Right.
And then in week 1, they don't throw really anything deep. He's pretty accurate on those intermediate routes going towards the sideline. And then week 2, misses one deep shot, connects on one of them, and should have been 2 of them. Plays that should have been 2 touchdowns. And now we're saying his arm strength isn't there. Well, I think it's clear his arm strength is there. If he's improving on that short game stuff, once the timing works out in real game situation, once Reagor kind of gets there mentally, once Quez has his maybe conditioning a little bit better, once he connects with Devonta, it's not really an issue to me.
It just seems to me that there's been just like pushing the goalpost forward, right? And just trying to come up with a reason as to why you don't trust him. Like if someone doesn't trust him, you're just never gonna trust him. It's like a point guard in basketball, right? Like no pun intended.
What do those look like?
Right. I haven't seen one in about 10 years, but I digress. Like if he's doing everything that you said he couldn't do, you're gonna continue to push the goalpost and say, oh, you know what? But he can't hit the intermediate route. I haven't seen him hit an intermediate route in the red zone yet. So like you're gonna nitpick as much as possible.
But his longest completion is 36.5. I think, you can't parlay all this stuff, but I really do like that. Down in Dallas itself, last season, we see him connect on an 81-yard pass to Deshaun Jackson for a touchdown. And obviously Deshaun's the greatest deep threat of all time.
Literally.
But tons of juice on that ball. And I think a guy like Quez or even Smith or Reagor are able to break one deep on that.
And been historically noted the past, 3 years now, that Dallas secondary is womp womp. So they're going to have their chances Monday night. I think especially a guy like Quez, and I think Devontae too. They're both going to really have their chances to get loose. And it's all it takes is one, right? Just like we said last week, they missed that red zone shot and Quez got tackled and the momentum changed. It can be the complete opposite Monday night. Quez catches a deep one and takes it in, or Devontae goes 50 yards or one. All of a sudden, you're looking at it. You're like, all right, we can play with these dudes, and we're gonna pitch and catch all night. So all it takes is literally one switch for the vibes to change.
Yeah, and gotta hit it early. I think they had the right idea, going for those deep passes early to set the tone, momentum builder against a team that's favored. They're going down on the road, underdogs for the 3rd time this season.
Yep.
And take a shot early. I like a 1st and 10 read option, roll out and throw it as far as you can and hope this guy runs as fast as he can. If you don't, well, it's 2nd down.
Also help your defense out. Get Booby out in space a lot. Give him a health. Give that small defensive line a hefty dose of the run game. Beat up on them a little bit. And let's see what let's make them be good at something, right? So if you're playing a defense that has question marks, make them be good at something. Make them show you what they can stop. And if they can't stop anything, then run everything. You know what I mean? But you got to do it early, like you said. You have to really test them early and see what they're about and see what they're going to let you have that night.
I think we could be in for a big Miles night. Now, I'm not the world's biggest Miles Sanders fan, but week 1 played really, really well. And I think in a weird way, this Eagles team feels like a dome team, don't you?
Yeah.
The speed, they're not really
like a greatest show on turf type team.
Yeah, I think playing
not the talent, but the play, how quickly they want to play, how quickly they move for sure.
Yeah, and his line isn't on DraftKings. I'm looking on FanDuel if they have an over/under for him. I wish they would have a over/under total for rushing yards, because I could see this being a 200-yard game, win or lose. Hurts breaks 70. You have Miles putting up 95, and you have Gainwell in there, and maybe you have an end around the Jalen Reagor.
And then that's what I was saying earlier in terms of what they do. Like, I know they have the Jalen Smith and the Leighton Vander Esch's of the world too, but like test everything. Like see what their second level of that defense is like. Get Gainwell out of space. Get Booby out. And really try to gash them. In as much as possible because they haven't shown anything yet. Like the same questions that people have been asking in the offseason and in the first couple of weeks of the season are the same questions they had this week. It's like, can they get a stop? Like can they get Dak and that offense back on the field?
Yeah.
And the best way to help your defense out is to keep them on the sideline. Like that's really it.
They crushed the clock in the second half of week 1.
Yep.
I think they're able to do that and might not be the most analytically progressive game, but ultimately you have to play towards your talent. This team is an exceptional running team, best in the NFC statistically right now behind Baltimore, and probably just looking at it in a vacuum, second behind Baltimore overall.
Which is crazy. Like it's not too far fetched, but like right now to be leading to be lead dog in that race is nuts. I love it.
And we still don't even truly know fully what a Nick Sirianni offense looks like. We've seen some little things these first 2 weeks. So I'm hoping, obviously, I hope the Eagles have a big offensive performance. Yeah, no crap, you hope that. But I'm hoping we get a greater insight into how Sirianni is going to form this team. And obviously, I'd want it with some perfect execution along the way.
Yeah, I think that in a 17 game season, you can't unleash everything at once. And I think that even he is trying to figure out still what he has. Right? So he knows
he's never called plays before.
Right,
he's done two times in his life.
This is him calling plays and him trying to figure out what's going on. Like to his credit, however much credit you want to give him, he said that obviously he hated the end around call to Greg Ward last week, and he hated a lot of that stuff he called in the red zone. And you're gonna have to take those growing pains with a coach, with a first time head coach. That's
self-awareness is key.
Self-awareness is first and foremost. Like admitting the first part of admitting the problem is having a problem is admitting it. Like he admitted, like, look, like I didn't count on my horses. When we're in the red zone, I got too fancy, and like that's cool. So maybe they get down to the red zone Monday night, and he calls another Greg Ward like fake pass. Then we'll have something to yell about. But like right now, like I'm willing to give him benefit of the doubt and say, if that opportunity comes up again Monday night, he won't get fancy. He won't get fancy about it.
Yeah, when on a double pass where Jalen Reagor throws an interception targeted for JJ Arcega-Whiteside, then we could break out the pitchforks and be like,
we'll break out the pitchfork.
What the F are you doing?
Yeah, like then we can really, really start burning the ships. But like right now, I'm fine with letting him live. I'm cool with it. Give him another chance. Like, let's see what else he can pull out that bag.
Do 2 little segments. Do the vibe check, and we'll finish up with our college football picks. What's your vibe check this week?
So I'm listening to a lot of people, right? You include. I know we talked about it offline too, but like I feel like a lot of people don't know how to feel about this game, and like Dallas week is always so precious to us. But I think a lot of people had their win taken out of themselves because of last week, rightfully so. But I think that this is a proud team. Like there's a lot of proud players on there, so I think that they're gonna go down there and maybe surprise some people. I don't know if I like the 3.5, but my vibe is telling me that they're gonna do at least do their best to go take care of business. So I like us. I like us by 4 points. Okay. My confidence comes from the fact that it's a big week, it's a rivalry week, and I feel like Jalen Hurts is a guy who takes things personal.
Jalen Hurts is a prime-time player.
Yeah, he took last week personal. I feel like he hasn't been that talkative this week, which is perfect. I love that. I think he's been doing a lot of studying, a lot of working, and I think that they took last week personal. That at least that offense did.
Yeah. Feeling okay. if they won on Sunday, even if it was an ugly win,
Yeah.
I'd be levitating doing this podcast outside 10 feet
Right.
in the air.
Yeah.
But a win, it's a divisional game. You could do the cliche, throw out the record books thing. But
Right.
as I said, 3 of the last 6 games down there have gone to overtime. These things are close. And if you go in there and maybe if it's the Eagles lost the game they should have won in week 2, maybe they won a game they shouldn't have in week 3. And hey, it's 2-1.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like another thing that kills the vibe sometimes is that we have to wait until Monday night. If they were coming off a win, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, cool, like we, stress free, football weekend, Monday night we'll get it done. But now that we're all so anxious to see how they respond, and it happens to be week 3 against one of our most hated rivals, everybody's dying. Like
the existential dread kicks in Monday,
Yeah.
and whether you're you're at work all day, you're just in the back of your head thinking like, I need this game to start. I need it to be over almost at the same time.
Yeah, because you're like, man, like it's that feeling of like, damn, whatever happens, I got to go to work Tuesday morning. Like I got to get up Tuesday and deal with it. So you're just praying and like, look, like either get blown out or blow them out, so I don't have to stay up until midnight and watch you miss a field goal or something like. You know what I mean? Like, just
block Jake Elliott field goal in overtime.
Right. Like that's literally the last thing any of us want. Like I just want to see them put up a fight. I know they will, and I want to see how Jalen Hurts bounces back. Like the team, his teammates, the coaching staff, they all trust him. So I want to see him show improve on Monday night.
We know who Jalen Hurts the person is, but let's find out who Jalen Hurts the NFL QB1 is on Monday.
Yeah, like let's see. Like he's a guy who he's answered the bell right at every stop, at Oklahoma, at Bama. When he got drafted, and obviously when he was in last year. So like I feel like he's someone who does take his performance and the role he's given personal. So I'm excited to see how he comes out.
Yeah. College football picks. I have 2 that I'm into.
All right, go for
Mississippi State home dogs versus LSU.
I love
money
that.
Money line plus 110. I'm into that.
I love that.
I like Tulane home against UAB minus 3.5. Those are the 2 ones I'm into.
I have Michigan State minus 4.5 at home against Nebraska. Michigan State's playing with some juice. I love what their new coaching staff is doing and how they look. So that's one that I'm into. And I have Georgia Tech. I have Georgia Tech plus 12 against at home against North Carolina.
Okay.
I was on the fence about it, but I feel like that's a game that it's always been tricky. So we'll see what the Rambling Wreck has in store this year.
Sounds good. I like that. And UNC's been a little shaky. UNC's a little shaky.
Yeah, dude, they always are, right? So that plus we would be remiss if we don't shout out our guy Kyle McCord, who
he's starting Saturday.
Starting Saturday for the Ohio State University Buckeyes against Akron. I think it's like the line is like 48.5 or something like that.
Is he a true freshman or redshirt?
True freshman. And talking to people around, our people who we know, everybody's saying like in Columbus, they've been waiting for him to get his shot. So we'll see. This is the kind of game where he can either lose the job for a couple more weeks or he can hold on to it for the rest of the season.
Is he building his 2022 Heisman?
Right. Like he's a really, really good kid. I know a lot of people are pulling for him. A lot of people pull for him to be their starter coming into this year. Yeah. So it's going to be a really, really fun Saturday.
Is Harrison Jr. redshirting?
Now he's playing. Year? Yeah,
he's playing. Oh man, where's the prop bet on them connecting for a touchdown?
Yo, I would. You know what? The prop bet on them should be like over under, like
Plus 1733.
Plus, yeah, plus, that's a good one. Plus 1733. And they hook up a ton. So I think if Marvin gets his shot, he's definitely gonna look for him. Their wide receiver Cordell. If any of our faithful listeners and watchers love college football, the Ohio State wide receiver core is one that you want to watch. They are a fun bunch. They got a lot of future pros on there, and those dudes can catch the heck out of the football, excuse me.
They could probably catch the heck out of the basketball too.
Probably basketball too. They do. You know what? So that Freudian slip comes from the fact that they do a basketball Fridays, like their team does.
Okay.
Like fun Fridays. It's actually really cool. If you follow, like, just go check their Instagram and their Twitter. They always do it. It's actually really fun. Well, yeah, shout out to him. I know we'll talk more about the fun thing that we're doing next Saturday, if you can still go. If not, I'll be there for sure. We got another fun football weekend coming up.
What time's that game? 3?
That game's at 3.
I should be there.
Yeah, you should go. Franklin Field, old stomping grounds.
Easy L ride.
Yeah, easy L ride. Bring Ash if you want.
Have a good time. Also want to plug Monday, little watch party, BGN watch party at Pistolas del Sur in South Philadelphia at Broad and Passyunk, right off the Snyder Broad Street line stop. So easy to get there. You could Uber down there. You could walk if you're living in South Philly, whatever. Did a watch party there back in 2019 for an Eagles-Washington game. Had a blast. Love the people there. They're hardcore Eagles fans.
Yeah.
There's listeners. They're readers. Should be a blast. I know Monday's a little hard because of work and some responsibilities. So if you can't make it out, I understand. But if you're free, you want to watch the game with some good Eagles fans, have some good food and drinks, crush a pitcher of Margs after Quez Watkins hits on his 91-yard catch for a touchdown. Come on out.
I was just going to say, for anyone who hasn't been, their food is spectacular. It's my wife is really into Mexican, so we've been a couple of times. But they have their spicy pork tacos with comes with grilled pineapple and kimchi. Man. Highly recommend. Like if you're out, live in the city, and available, definitely come through. Holler at the squad.
They might have my favorite wings.
Oh yeah, their wings are very underrated. Very underrated.
Mexican places do wings really well, and it's not even like in a specific Mexican style. It just always seems that way.
It's always how it's cooked.
Yeah,
it's not even a specific style. It's just the wings are just so flavorful.
Yeah. Anything else before we wrap up? Should have some other fun news we're cooking up too for later in the season.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up. We got a couple other people to get back to. Other than that, man, just hanging out, getting ready for fall. A bunch of fun football stuff coming up, and maybe we'll do something spooky around Halloween time. Who knows?
I love it. All right, AMDG, keep bleeding green.
First and always.
Hopefully, we're talking after a huge Eagles win next week. Tune in. Talk to you soon.
Peace.